In this video, in Evony the King's Return, we're going to be taking a look at some of the best attacking generals to be using in PvP, probably around about 10 for this video, but absolutely there's going to be generals I do not mention that can be used for PvP, mostly ones that might be ground or mounted or a siege, because for anyone that does not know, you're mostly going to be wanting to try to use ranged troops or archers in PvP, along with a fair few siege and a minimal amount of mounted and ground mixed into your march. And so we're going to be mostly looking for ranged based generals in this video, but I will mention some ground ones. But do bear in mind, you'll have to look to other lists I'll be putting out in the future, and some that are already available on my channel, to be able to get more information on ones you might be able to use in PvP as well. Again, leave comments down below if you need anything related to Ebony. Let's get into the list now. So in the portrait section of the tavern here, we've got Edward the Black Prince. That increases your ranged troop attack by 25%, which is one of the things we're looking for, and also reduces enemy mounted troop attack by 15%. If you don't know, ranged troops are very effective against mounted troops, and therefore by reducing the enemy mounted troop attack, that's almost as if you're getting a ranged troop attack buff. So you could kind of think of these two as the same. So it's a very high buff, it's pretty good, 40%. It's not exactly how it works, but just for those people that are maybe a little bit more beginner, I'll explain it that way. Now these specialties, unlike the special skill, you will not get it right away. You'll have to level the specialties up. For a free player, it could take well over 12 months to get anywhere near maxing these out, because there's many levels to them when you're putting your resources into them. For a spender, it could still take 6 months or much longer, depends how much you're spending. So bear that in mind. You can look at these specialties, you can take some of the numbers I'll be saying throughout the video as a metric of which ones are the best, but you may not get the specialties for longer. It may be best for you to look at the special skills and see which one is going to be best for you. Also, this general is available in the tavern. Sometimes when there's a red notice down here where my cursor is, that means that the general is not available in the tavern, so those free players are going to have difficulty getting that general. I'll get into that in another video, how free players can still get them, but mostly it's going to be for people spending real money. But again, this one's in the tavern, a free player can get it. If it comes up in your tavern, it will cost 38 million gold. I have a video on general recruitment if you need help with that, or leave a comment down below. So again, that one's pretty good. His overall stats are about 180%, including specialties, which again, are very hard to get. Quite a few of them are debuffs, so you don't quite count them as good as buffs. But he's very high in comparison to most generals, so that's pretty good. Again, available in the tavern, which is great. This next one here, Alfred the Great, is not available in the tavern, as you see down here in the red. But still, he is the best general available at all for PvP, especially when using ranged troops. As you see, that's what his special skill does, along with siege machine attack. His specialties are increasing ranged troop attack and defense, etc. as well. I won't get into those too much, but he's about 150% total stats, which is lower than the Black Prince, but his stats are a little bit better just because of how they work out, with it being more for ranged only when you go through these, which is great to really stack up on ranged buffs. Scipio here, I'm not sure if that's exactly how you say it, but we'll go with it. Increases ground troop attack, HP, doesn't do defense, and he's got a bunch of specialties that help with ground troops also. Now I don't recommend using ground troops in PvP in large numbers unless you understand how to do it, and definitely don't invest into Scipio or the other ground general I'll be mentioning in the video too soon, because you're not going to want them right away. You're going to want the ranged ones first. This one is going to be 3rd, 4th, 5th general you want to get and level up. Ahead of that, you're going to want a boss general, so one that's good with mounted, and again, these ranged ones. So there's no more in that tab or the America tab. But in Japan, we've got a couple. So Minamoto here is used by a lot of big players, especially because he's been around in the game for a while. So those older servers have leveled him up a little bit more. So increasing ranged attack there. And also if you bring a dragon from the pasture, there's additional stats there. And again, his specialties are in mostly range. So I think there's a little bit of siege on this second one, 10% siege machine attack. Pretty good base stats. What you're usually looking for there is over 110 is pretty good. Maybe not all are going to be over that. For instance, his politics is not, but politics does not matter for PvP. It's the other three, which are attack, defense, and leadership. In PvP at least, basically just means HP or hit points, health points. Kimiko here is another one. She's got some debuffs in her specialties and the special skill on mounted, which is again pretty good for our use here, and increasing the ranged troop attack and defense, which is a very high stat overall for her. I think it's about 55% just in the special skill. Now in career, I have this one here, which is Guan, increasing the ranged troop attack and siege machine attack. And again, his specialties are mostly ranged. For anyone that wants to look through any more stats in more detail, because I'm going through them a little bit quickly, feel free in your own game to come into this section and you'll be able to see the same information that I'm seeing. Dumong here is okay. He's probably a little bit towards the back of the pack, because although he increases ranged troop attack by 35%, which is pretty good, he only has the one buff. By only having one buff like this, it means we cannot add an additional ranged troop attack book to him once we recruit him, which we can do, and I have done with Guan here, because he has two, which you see ranged troop attack and siege machine attack to 20%. That's considered two separate buffs. Because of that, I can now add ranged troop attack and a siege machine attack to him, increasing that attack a ton overall. Again, can't do that with Dumong. So that's why he's at the back of the list. Although he's still pretty good if he comes up on your game, you can recruit him and use him for a few months if you're on a new server, for sure. Li Shimin is another one, again for free players. He's in the tab and he doesn't have that red notice at the bottom. Increasing march size so you can send more troops, increasing the ranged troop attack. And again, obviously his specialties go along with that. Do bear in mind those specialties, very expensive, take a very long time, so make sure you're sure about the general that you have and that you want to invest into them with the specialties, because you don't want to be wasting any of that. So in the others tab here, we've got a few. So Trajan is the other ground one. I'm not going to go into this one too much, but you can see attack, defense, HP. He is the second best ground general to be using if you wanted to use a majority ground attack. And Elektra finally is top 3 again, increasing ranged troop attack and mounted troop attack. If you bring a dragon, that's even more ranged troop attack. Her specialties are pretty damn good, but you got to remember with some of these generals that say bring any dragon from the pasture, it forces you to use dragons that you might not want to use. Therefore meaning you can't use the wand dragons and such, which may be better. That's why, although her stats overall are higher than Alfred the Great, Alfred the Great is actually better than Elektra, just slightly, which is also affected slightly by the default buffs up here in green. Now that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave it down below. Also, check out the rest of my channel and subscribe for more lists like these and other help to do a general. So we have general cultivation, leveling, general gear, general recruitment. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next one.